Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, moni wanji, namaste, jambo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We're coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so delighted and so very honored that you are joining us in our mission to help families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to subscribe to the show in the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts. Our guest today is Erica Budd. She'll be joining us to celebrate Mission to Australia. It is the first book in her Travel Ranger series. Before we invite Erica into the studio, we want to let you know we have a brand new Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read. And this doesn't happen very often, but our brand new Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read, it's Mission to Australia, written by Erica Budd. How do you say, how are you in Australia? And what is Vegemite? And what are two of Australia's favorite sports? You'll uncover these exciting facts and more when you read the first book in the Travel Ranger series for kids, Mission to Australia. Discover why Australia is one of the most amazing countries in the world. Learn some fun Australian phrases and words. This book is suitable for kids ages 4 to 8. Join the team of Travel Rangers, a team comprising of 4 friends who are out on an adventure to explore new places and cool technology, and their first stop is the land down under, Australia. This wonderful book takes you on a journey to different parts of Australia, all while partnered with bright illustrations highlighting the country's tourist hotspots. Erica Budd takes readers through the sights and sounds of life in Australia, from snorkeling in the Great Barrier Reef to climbing all 1,332 steps of the most famous Sydney Harbour Bridge. We want to congratulate Erica Budd. Mission to Australia, the first in the Travel Ranger series, is our latest Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read. Join us right now from right outside of Chicago. Our guest today is here to celebrate a great new series that I think you'd be interested in learning about and maybe supporting. She's starting a Kickstarter campaign. It starts today. Please welcome to the show the author of Mission to Australia, part of the Travel Ranger series, Erica Budd. Hey, Erica, how are you?
Hi, great. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you on Travel Rangers. This sounds like a lot of fun. Tell us about the concept for the series, please.
The concept came, well, honestly, when you just said that, I just realized my son is the reason why it's named Travel Rangers. Oh. He is really big into military. He draws military. He dresses up as military. And that's actually where I got a lot of components for my book from it. But I didn't even realize it until you just said that. I completely forgot that he's the reason why it's called Travel Rangers, because of the Rangers. It made him think of missions. And that's, of course, we put that with the travel. But Travel Rangers, I wrote the first version of this book about 15 years ago when I just thought this was going to be a hobby. It's just something that I knew I wanted to get kids excited about traveling. And I was surrounded by people who had no desire to travel. And I really wanted to change that. So I started my book. It was based in Australia. And the funny thing is that I ended up living in Australia for a little bit. So it was a book started in Australia. I ended up living there. So I was meant to be, kismet with Australia. But yeah, the concept came really, I wanted to get kids excited about Australia. And I wanted to work in travel, and I realized that I can still work in travel and do that by helping kids to get excited about travel as well.
Yeah. I like that concept of Travel Rangers and getting kids to think of travel as a mission, because it really is. You know, there's a lot that goes in, especially if you're talking about little kids, and there's a lot that goes into it. there is making sure you have everything and getting to the airport safely and having your passport and the IDs, and kids need IDs, and going through security and making sure you're together, and where are we going to go, and planning out and learning about the place you're traveling to, and how does it compare once you're there to what you thought it was going to be like. I think that's a great way to get kids excited about taking a trip.
Well, and the interesting thing was, I had no desire to take my son with me overseas. I think it's really interesting that now I have completely changed my mind. I was definitely one of those. I love to travel. I've been to over 30 countries. I did that most of it before I had my son. And I just figured it's really expensive. I'm not going to take him. He's not going to appreciate it. And then I ended up taking him with me to Australia, and we had a layover in China. And I just opened my eyes to a whole new world that I was showing him, that I didn't even think about that part of it. And I have there's a quote out there that it's like not taking your, not taking your child to travel, like not reading to your kid. Mm-hmm. Like basically, like they're not going to remember everything they read, but you still read because it adds so much. It teaches them so much. It's the same thing with traveling, which I didn't get until I actually took my son there. And now, that really prompted me to write the book as well, or get this book out there, was because I just realized how important it was to get kids out to other countries. Even though they might not remember all of it, mm-hmm. there's so much that you're giving them that you don't realize.
Yeah. And just that time together, you think we celebrate the fact that, you know, families that spend 20 minutes a day reading with their kids, that's such a blessing. There's so many benefits the kids get. There's so many benefits the parents and the caregivers get. But just when you're taking a trip, now you're spending the time that you're spending together exclusively with each other has just exploded. You know, you talk about that trip to Australia. You were probably on the plane or traveling for 27, 28 hours, which is an ordeal with a kid, but still it's that you're together and you're spending time together, and that's can be really important and bonding.
That's true. And it's something that we're always going to have. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's as he's getting older, yes, he's starting to remember, to forget parts of it, but we're always we look through pictures all the time, and he remembers, and we're always going to have that, because he and I just did it together, just the two of us. And it's memories that we'll never be able to erase. It makes me smile every time, and I know he gets excited, and it made him want to go other places as well. I've traveled since without him. In the last trip that I went on, I was, thank goodness for technology, but I had my video camera on to show him, like, look what I looked around me. He's like, what's over there? What's over there? So it really piqued that curiosity for differences. What are they doing? What's that? Mm-hmm. It's something that he didn't realize until we left.
Yeah.
So, but yes, you're right. You have those memories that bond.
And I think too, it's just the idea at helping kids understand from a very early age that we do live in this big, beautiful, diverse world, where at one point, when I was a kid almost 100 years ago, thinking about going to Australia, talk about a mission. I mean, that was just beyond imagination. But now it's much more doable for families, and to allow kids to understand that, yes, people have different customs, they speak different languages, they eat different things, they look at the world in a different way, and we can still get along, and we can still be friends, and we can still love and respect each other.
And that's exactly, that's one of my missions, honestly, mm-hmm. is really to show kids and hopefully the readers, their parents or grandparents, whoever they're reading with, that there's a whole world out there, and it's different, and it's okay. And sometimes it's even better than what we have, but you don't know what you don't know, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people just don't realize that there's so many different things out, culture and the history and the sights and the food. And there's a lot of differences out there that you don't get to experience unless you really travel to other countries. Yeah. So, even domestically, you can still see those differences when you travel within the States. Mm-hmm. But when you go overseas, it's completely different. The United States is such a new country, so we don't have that same history that a lot of the other countries in this world have. But that's exactly right. I want people to recognize that it's okay to be different. It's welcome the differences. It helps give us different perspectives, mm-hmm. And I want my son to have that, and I want I'm hoping to bring that to other children as well.
Yeah, you're talking about the United States being a young country. I've shared this on the podcast in the past. I was taking one of our international kids when she first arrived with us around the city of Boston, and I pointed to a building and I said, "That building is almost 300 years old." And she's like, "We have a bridge that's 1,200 years old in our town."
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm sure there's an amazing story behind it as well.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what are we going to do? What are we going to learn about Australia in Mission to Australia?
So I managed to, it's a picture book, so it's only 32 pages, but I managed to put a lot in there. So you learn different phrases that Australians use, different foods, how they drive different than us, different animals in the wild. Let's see, different seasons. Mm-hmm. So they're different than us. And you learn something that's very different with my book. I really wanted kids to really experience being in Australia. So there's a component I don't know if it's ever been done, but I know with the company I'm working with, it's never been done, but it's actually a 3D component.
Really?
So a couple different pages, and I didn't do the whole book because the book I wanted to stand on its own as a great book. Mm-hmm. But there are a couple parts in the book where you actually scan it you scan a QR code and the book comes to life. Awesome. So it's a very cool concept. I've been working with this company now for the last 6 months, and they're still perfecting it because they've done it with paintings, mm-hmm. but never with a book before. So it's the first that they've ever done, and it's pretty amazing. I mean, the cover, for example, when you scan the cover, the world comes out and it spins. And it shows you different places, and the helicopter where the kids take the mission, they travel via helicopter, flies around the world. So it's pretty cool. It really helps kids to get engaged and really want to read more.
Awesome. Well, one of the things we mentioned at the top of the show is that you are launching a Kickstarter. Mission to Australia is not available at the moment, but it is available for pre-order through Kickstarter. Tell us a little bit about your Kickstarter and just what the whole concept of crowdfunding is all about.
So crowdfunding, and honestly, I didn't know about it until I became an author. It's a way of, as a self-published author, you had to put all your money out up front. You don't have that publisher to kind of fund for everything. And the reason why I chose to be a self-publisher is because my son picked components of the book. And if you try to get a publisher, they kind of take more control. So they pick the illustrator. They can kind of have more control and do whatever they want. And I didn't want to lose the components that my son picked from the book. I mean, he's the reason why they're going on a mission because of his love for the military. He's the reason why they're wearing a camouflage vest, because of his love for military. I didn't want to lose those components. But because of that, you have to put all of the money up front. Mm-hmm. And the 3D component especially really hiked up that price. But I wanted that. So, the Kickstarter, it helps you. It's basically a pre-order campaign. That's the way I look at it. And we're able to, through that Kickstarter, you can offer exclusive rewards, for signing up, for helping. So it's a win-win for both. The way I see it is, yes, the money that I receive from the rewards, it helps to pay all of the vendors that I've been working with and everyone I've been working with. But it's a win for anybody supporting the book because they get exclusive rewards that will never be available after the book is published. So I've been really thinking hard about different rewards that people will really like. So for example, I have one package that includes a map and a vest, and it's like the adventure pack. I have another reward that includes where the illustrator is actually going to draw you give a picture of your child and they're going to draw your child with the characters from the book. So I really tried to make it fun, to make it so that you would be getting something out of it, that you were excited about what you're getting, so that it was that win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
But the thing about Kickstarters, though, is that if you don't reach your goal, then you don't get that money. So you don't send out the rewards, and that's not the fun part about Kickstarters, but it's a part of it nonetheless.
Well, one of the things I love about crowdfunding is that it's really helped democratize media, and it's really given access to a lot of authors who wouldn't have an ability to have their voice heard for whatever reason. And I also think it's a really fun way to talk about this whole issue with kids, to help them understand that you can be a part of creating something. You like this idea. You think that you would enjoy the story. You think the kids should read the story. What do you think about supporting it? What do you think about backing it? And helping them see very early on that they can affect change, and not just by going out and picking up litter and planting trees. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a really excellent activity and fun thing for families to do. But I think we live in a capitalist country that runs on people backing ideas and backing entrepreneurs and authors and artists. And I think this is a neat way to get kids thinking in that direction at a very young age.
Yeah. And, there are a lot of young children authors that I'm amazed with how many kids have written their own book. And they're doing their own Kickstarter. And it's exciting to see these kids raising money. Like you said, this is a whole way for them to get out there and to see what they can do as kids. It's amazing. And it's a way, I think, for so many people, just regular people, that think that they can't possibly do this. It costs too much money. They can't possibly compete. And it gives us that hope and that support and that we can really, achieve. For a lot of us, this is like a dream for us to be able to publish our own books. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it makes it possible to get in front of people you would never get in front of otherwise.
Mm-hmm. And what a neat thing to have in your family library. This is not only a book that I love, but this is a book that I help bring to the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, you get to be a part of it. You get to be a part of knowing that this book might not have happened if it wasn't for me and my contribution.
Yeah. And that's not hyperbole. It's the reality, as you say.
It really is.
If the campaign is not successful, then it doesn't move forward, and the money goes back to the people who had pre-ordered. Tell us, this is very unusual that we're able to celebrate the book here on the podcast and celebrate the campaign on the podcast the same day that the campaign launches.
Yes.
And so you were very wise to reach out early on. A lot of people reach out and they say, "Hey, we have 3 days left in the Kickstarter campaign. Can I be on the show?" And I'm like, "Sure," but no one will hear it until after. So the Kickstarter.
No, I'm very grateful. Yeah.
The Kickstarter campaign starts today, April 1st, 2022. How long does it run?
It is going to last. It's not typical 30 days, about 27 days. So
27 days.
A couple of days before the end of April 27th, I believe.
And what's the ground floor entry level? Is there, what's the minimum that people can get involved with?
$5. And that's just purely to support me and my mission and what I'm trying to accomplish. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter if you have kids. I mean, I'm hoping that there's at least a neighbor, a kid, a grandkid, a friend that would enjoy the book. But if not, even $5, everything helps. Mm-hmm,
mm-hmm. And what's the top? People get very, very creative, and you mentioned your illustrator will be able to draw an illustration of your kid into the Ranger team. What's that top level, and is that the ultimate reward?
Actually, yes, that one is the most expensive one because she is going to be doing each individual child. So that one's $115, but it includes a book as well. So it includes the hardcover book signed by me, and includes an ebook, and it includes your child illustrated. So you'd get that digital image of your child. So she's doing them. She's on standby, basically waiting once the Kickstarter ends, and she knows she's going to get working on them. So they're not like cookie cutter. She's going to wait for that picture and draw it based off of that. So that one is the most expensive one.
Awesome. And what's the goal? What's the ultimate goal of the campaign?
I'm hoping to raise $7,000. It's more of a conservative goal because, again, this is my first one, so I was a little nervous. That's about a third of the cost of the production of the book. So,
yeah, people should understand that publishing a book is an investment. It's an investment. It's an investment when a major publishing house like Scholastic or Penguin Random House do it. It's an even bigger investment when an independent or self-published author is doing it. What's the long-term goal? You told me that Travel Rangers is going to be a series. What other parts of the world are you thinking of exploring with the series?
So I plan to do, my goal is one every year. And so I'm thinking this year we want to do like an African safari. I thought that would be fun because I think it's a lot of people always say, I wish I could do this. So I'm trying to think of different places that you hear people saying that they wish they could have gone here. So I know an African safari is one. Italy is definitely on that list as well. So I'm going between the two. So I have a feeling the next two are going to be an African safari. And I also have family that are from Africa that a couple of them want to take me there as well. So I can still get that firsthand knowledge, and experience. So it's going to be that. And then Italy. I've been to Italy a couple times and I think it would be a great country to write a book on.
Awesome. You shared with us early on that you've traveled yourself to over 30 countries. Do you have a favorite?
It's funny. I do get asked that question a lot. So ultimately, I would say it's Italy. And it's mainly because I think it has the full package. I think it has the beauty, the architecture, the history, the food. It just has everything to me. It's completely different than that, but it's kind of a tie with Egypt. And it's mainly because when you think about what you're able to see and experience, I mean, I got to, ride a donkey in the Sahara. A camel in the Sahara and a donkey in the Valley of the King. So it's just, when you think about the hieroglyphics and all of that, it's just amazing. So it's very different reasons, but I'm definitely one of those people that once you're there, like you can read about it, and it might hit you, but once you're there and you realize, oh my goodness, what am I looking at? What happened here? That's when, to me, it's just amazing. So that's the kind of experience I had in Egypt. So
I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm thinking those hieroglyphics that you saw are probably a little bit older than 250, 300 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, one of the things my wife and I love to travel, and we love to remember the kind of mishaps that we have. Is there a fun mishap that you experienced in your travels?
A mishap? I don't. I'd say one of my trips to Ireland, I think it was, that's when you realize that you don't know how to read a map all of a sudden. Sometimes it becomes difficult. And something that was so easy to you before, you can no longer do. And I just remember it was raining and we just could not figure out how to get to our hotel. And we were so excited because we booked a hotel in a castle hotel, right? It was like so many people's dream to stay in a castle. And we got there and it was closed. So we drove for like 2 hours. So frustrating because we didn't know how to read this map and we got there and it was closed. So that was definitely, learn that lesson that I don't even know how it happened because we thought we were booked, but yeah, I laugh about it now, but at the time it was not funny. It was such a disappointment.
Well, I know people are going to want to know where they can go with or without a map to learn more about Travel Rangers and to be a part of your Kickstarter campaign.
So you can go to my website is www.teamtravelrangers.com. TEAM Travel Rangers.
And there's a link directly to the Kickstarter there?
Yes, there is. Right on the homepage.
Awesome. Well, we've had a really fun time talking about travel, talking about inspiration, and also talking about the brand new series. The Kickstarter campaign is starting today to fund Mission to Australia, Book 1 in the Travel Ranger series by our guest, Erica Budd. Hey, Erica, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you very much. It's been fun.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We'll be celebrating Autism Awareness Day with Lisa Jakovsky. She is the author of the Let's Talk series. That is the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Hey, if you're the author of a fantastic children's book, You may be frustrated at how difficult it is to let the world know all about it. We understand. There are literally thousands of books published every single month. It is really hard to stand out in that crowd of books, and it doesn't matter if you're published by the biggest publishing company in the world. It is hard to stand out. It's especially hard if you are an independent or self-published author, or if you're published with a very small publishing house. You know, as the author of your book, you are the CEO of your book. If people are going to buy it, if people are going to love it, you're going to have to market it. You're going to have to promote it. We would love to help you do that. There's so many ways that we can help you celebrate your book. You can be a guest here on the podcast. It's fun. It's easy. It gives you the chance to tell thousands of people about your fantastic book, and it doesn't cost a thing. All you need to do is to go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the Authors Click Here button at the top of the page and scroll on down to Be a Guest. Oh, right underneath Be a Guest, you can learn about our Certified Great Read program. If our panel believes that your book is worthy of 4 or 5 out of 5 stars, it becomes a Certified Great Read. And with that status comes a number of really powerful promotional programs that can help your book stand out from the crowd of books. We also have a wonderful monthly promotion package that will celebrate your book with commercials here on the podcast, with messages to our 76,000 plus social media followers, and display your book on our nationwide network of digital pedestrian billboards. We have boards in Boston, Atlanta, Los Angeles, Sacramento, Albany, and Toledo, Ohio. Imagine that. Check it all out today. Readingwithyourkids.com. Authors Click Here. Scroll on down. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Of course, I want to start by thanking our guest, our latest Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read author, Erica Budd. Please be sure to check out her Kickstarter campaign for Mission to Australia. Also want to thank my team, Fatima Khan, Rory Grady, Skylar Strauss. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.